For the closing bell ringing on Wall Street, stocks finishing a bit lower as investors trade cautiously with President Trump's August 1st tariff deadline just hours away. Now, this week, a preliminary deal has been reached with South Korea, both sides agreeing to a 15% tariff on most South Korean goods. That includes cars and electronics. The U.S. and Mexico today reaching an agreement to extend trade talks for another 90 days with a 25% tariff still in effect. But so far, that reprieve has not been extended to other countries. The White House now warning of steep tariffs if deals are not reached by midnight.
We've sent out 17 letters to countries around the world. And the rest of those countries that either do not have a deal or have a letter, they will be hearing from this administration by the midnight deadline tonight. So we'll see what happens. I do know foreign leaders are ringing his phone, realizing this deadline is a real thing for them tomorrow, and they're bringing offers to the table.
Bringing offers to the table. Well, our ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers is joining us now from the North Lawn. So first of all, Karen, what more do we know about these additional tariffs that the White House has announced, and any details on these offers coming to the table?
Yeah, no details on the offers, Kana, but countries are scrambling ahead of this midnight deadline tonight. The president's going to sign an executive order laying out what those tariff rates would be for countries around the world. And you heard Caroline Leavitt there, the White House press secretary, say letters have been sent to 17 countries. So those are the countries that know what the tariff rate would be and had the chance to potentially negotiate and get that from that high threat down to a different number. Some countries were able to do that, like South Korea that you mentioned. There was a 25% tariff threat. That went down to 15%. India, though, 25% tariff rate that the president announced this week. Brazil getting hit with a 50% tariff rate. But, Kana, for dozens of countries around the world who were on that original chart back in April, that so-called Liberation Day, they don't know what the rate is going to be, and we will find out when the president signs that executive order. No more extensions. This is going to go into effect tonight at midnight.
Interesting. And Karen, what about the U.S. and Mexico come to some sort of an agreement here to at least extend negotiations? Any details on that compromise?
Yeah, so Mexico was not included in that April 2nd tariff announcement. They've always been on a different timeline, but the United States has been in negotiations over the last several weeks to try to reach a bigger trade agreement. The president, though, today announced that they're keeping in place for the next 3 months these 25% tariffs on those goods that are not covered by the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Free Trade Agreement. There will also still be in place a 25% tariff on other goods that are coming in from Mexico, and that 50% tariff on steel, aluminum, and copper products. Now, the president has been pushing the president of Mexico to do more on the border. That's been his big impetus for putting these tariffs on Mexico in the first place. And it's notable, though, that they weren't really facing that same major deadline of tomorrow. But, Kana, the president had threatened at one point to increase that 25% up to 30%. Mexico got a reprieve on that, but that 25% tariffs is still in effect, at least for the next couple of months.
All right. Well, this clock is ticking. Karen Travers, wonderful to have you there with us today.